Good morning, everyone. This is Amanda from A Joyful Scrapper. Today I'm going to play along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 days of sketches, well, the best of 30 days of sketches. Today is day 23. We're going to be working with this sketch by Susan Stringfellow for Sketch Savvy. Sorry about that. And today I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, which is I'm going to pull exclusively from my 6x6 paper pad. I'm going to be using Echo Park's Plant Lady paper pad. Today, as you can see, I have used this paper pad before for a different project, but I haven't ever created a 12x12 layout using a 6x6 paper pad, but I thought with this sketch it might actually work pretty well for the most part for the sketch. The places where I think I needed more of a 6x8 paper, I'm going to try and fill in with some of my Shimmerz Sky's the Limit creamies, and I'm going to kind of try to stretch my paper that way. So this might be interesting. We'll see how it goes. But with this 6x6 paper pad, I also have the frames and tags set from Echo Park, and I also have the ephemera set. So I'm going to try and make this work with what I've got. The pictures I'm going to be using today are of my gorgeous basil that I am growing in my raised garden. I just got this raised garden bed from Costco, and my herbs are looking more beautiful than ever. So this is a picture I just took yesterday of my basil growing, and this was one of the giant leaves that it is producing. So I'm holding that in my hand, so it's actually bigger than this photo was. So those are the pictures I'm going to scrap, and so I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. And thanks for joining me, and let's see where this goes. All right, so as I looked through what was left of the Plant Lady little 6x6 album I had from Echo Park, I already had kind of an idea of the main papers that I wanted to pull from it, and then also some of the little scraps. I will use some of those scraps as well. I don't remember exactly what I used that little collection for, but I think it was for like a little mini album that I made. I used some of it for a few of those pages. But when I was looking through the book, this painted kind of mixed meaty-ish looking piece, I knew that I wanted that to be the base of my layout, and I knew that I wanted to draw from the colors that were in that mostly. So one of the problems that I had with the 6x6 paper is that it wasn't quite big enough for the design that was in the sketch. And, you know, I'm not going to follow the sketch exactly, but I did want to at least give the illusion that I was following the sketch. So in order to make up for what was not in on the paper, I really needed kind of like a 6x8, but I just didn't have that in this collection. And so what I did was I kind of drew out the blue using one of my Shimmerz paints. I held it up there, and I think I told you before what it was, what colorway it was, but I can't remember at the moment while I am doing this voiceover. So if you like this color, I showed it right at the beginning. But all I'm doing here is just kind of making basically a watercolor area that just kind of will create the illusion that that paper is extended. On the paper, it doesn't really look like watercolor streaks. It looks more like acrylic paint streaks that someone has done, but I liked the watercolor with it. And that color, it really did match pretty perfectly. I tested it out on another sheet, and it really did work really well. I did go off camera. I did a couple of layers of the Shimmerz paints there just to kind of try to make it a little bit darker up by that blue edge of the Echo Park paper. And so I did that off camera and then dried it. And I think that it blends in pretty well with it because I'm going to be covering most of it. I don't know why I bothered blending so much and trying to get the right color because I'm going to cover most of that up with my picture anyway. But, you know, it made me feel better to do it. So that's what I finished with, at least that part of the mixed media. You will see more later because I can never just leave well enough alone. So at this point I am working on the other, what looked like the larger layer behind the photos. Now again, I'm running into the same problem, whereas I don't have long enough papers to do this with just using the 6x6. So I'm just going to create illusions of having longer paper by cutting strips in half, tucking things. And this caused me to have to kind of go off the sketch a little more than I would have liked to, just because I couldn't place everything the way that the sketch had it and still use this this collection. And this is the collection I wanted to use for these particular pictures, so I just made do with it. So you see in the background I put that kind of coral colored gingham in the back, and that now I'm looking at that cute little plant paper. I adore that plant paper. I just think it's so cute, and it does look like little potted herbs, so I think it goes really well with my basil pictures. I do a lot of playing around with these layers and positioning. I'll be cutting out quite a bit of that because this video would be even longer than it is now. I really tried to make this shorter than my other videos, but alas, it did not work. I just like to leave in so much of the process for you guys so that you can see exactly what I did. And I like you to be able to see me kind of picking out the embellishments and putting those on and picking out the layers, because for me, that's kind of interesting to see people do. And you can always fast forward if you're tired of seeing it. Okay, so at this point, I'm just matting my photographs. I really liked that it looked like brick, white brick background. I liked the pop of, it wasn't quite white because it had variations in it, so it didn't quite look white, but it was light enough to kind of break away from all of the dark colors on the background and the dark colors of the picture, because that is quite a saturated picture. So I did it on the little brick paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to layer on top of the green just to kind of pull from those little plant print up on the top and the bottom. I didn't have any other green, so I wanted to pull a bit from that so that it would seem a little more natural to have those plants on there. And again, just scuffing up the edges. I'm not the biggest fan, as I've said in other videos, of the straight edge. I do try every once in a while to leave a straight edge, but generally I end up scuffing it up. I like the dimension that it makes when you do scuff it up, and I don't know, it just feels more interesting. And for whatever reason, I feel like scrapbook pages need to feel old and loved for some reason. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And so scuffing up those edges helps to give that look. Okay, so here I knew I wanted to use that coral and green printed paper, but once I put it on there, I realized that what I had wanted to do first was edge this picture in white, because the way it printed, it did not have the white edges like the other one, so I wanted to make it match. So I had this piece of paper sitting aside. It's also, as you can see in the corner, where I tested out the blue color to make sure it would match. So I went ahead and I pulled the photograph off and matted it on the white first, so it would have the matching white edges as the other photo. And then I'm going to stick it down on the coral and green. I know it's not really going in the best direction. I would have preferred the greenery to be going vertically, but honestly, once you put it on the background, you can't really tell anyway. So I got a little bit over my being a little picky there and just matted it the way that the picture fit, and then I scuff up the edges anyway, so it's not like you can even really tell once I get that finished. And I don't really mind that I used different matting for each one of the photos. I felt like they had different focal points in them. The one of just the basil plant is very, very green with just a little black from the dirt on the bottom. And then the other one has like my hand, which of course is a peachy color. So I didn't mind using the coral on that one. I felt like it kind of drew off from the picture and it worked well. So off camera, I went ahead and stuck down those main layers because they're not going to move now. They are where I want them. Well, at least where they worked best. I guess that would be the best way to say it. They're where they worked best. And now I'm just going to go through the 2 ephemera and frames and tags sets that I have from Echo Park that come with the Plant Lady set. And I'm looking for tags first of all. The sketch had a few tags, and so I wanted to pull out what I could that I felt like would work with the design and would also pop a little bit more against that white background. As you guys know, I don't do plain white very well without making quite a few changes, and you will see what I decide to do with that white background here in a little while. Once I get toward the end of the project, I really didn't decide to do anything until right at the very end. But I'm just going through these 2 packs, pulling out, first of all, like I said, tags, and then secondly, I'll pull out some other shapes and things that I can tuck and make kind of cute. I didn't have any more tags of the shape of that blue and white one, and so I decided to make my own tag just out of the green paper that came in the paper pack. It was just a little strip that I had left from something I had used before, and so I decided to make another tag that was the same shape as the blue and white striped tag. And here I'm just looking through because I was kind of thinking that blue and white tag felt a little bit like it got a little bit lost against the white paper, and so I kind of had the idea to frame it just a little bit or outline it. And so I pulled out that blue paper that basically looks like it's splattered with water and decided to just kind of layer up that tag and just give it a little bit more pop away from the paper. It just felt like it was getting lost up there. So, which is kind of funny because I don't even leave that tag up there. If in a minute you're just going to see me kind of be like, wait a minute, maybe I don't want this one up here. And then I start kind of playing around and seeing if I thought that blue would work. I think it was because it was right next to the plants and I wanted those little plants on the tag to show as well, and I didn't really like them next to the other little plants. So I decided to try it down there by my photograph. But what I was finding is because on that photograph, I popped it up on some foam, and so I couldn't fit the whole tag underneath. So I just cut it, and I really like how that looks down there. I like that it's bringing blue to the other side. It kind of helps to balance out the fact that there's a bunch of blue on one side and then it's mostly coral on the other. So I like that blue tag is there, and then it's giving just a little bit of balance to that blue. So I decided to stick the green tag up on the top along with the gingham one that matches the background gingham. And then when I set that up there, I guess right now I'm going about and I'm looking at these other tags. I actually used the bottom of a tag for that coral colored one. I really liked the shape that it had there and the little holes. I liked how it looked. So I decided to stick that over there underneath the big picture. And now I'm just kind of playing around with a few, a few of the little ephemera pieces that came with one of the kits. You see, now I've got them both kind of like out there. I do like that blue bloom, and I don't want the word bloom. I just want the shape of the top of the tag. So I think that looks cute there. So I decided to leave it there. I thought about doing it with another coral one on the other side, but it just didn't really work for what I wanted. So I put that back. And I'm just kind of looking through still, trying to see if there's anything else I can add to this page. To me, it feels very plain, even though it's not that plain. Okay, what happened there was, I think my camera stopped. I think it shut off and I didn't realize it until I had already done several things. So at this point, I had decided I wanted to use that bloom where you're planted, little piece right there, and I stuck it on the green tag, and I decided that I wanted to make a shaker pocket out of just the little bottom, actually it was the top part of that scalloped looking tag that I put on the blue side underneath the picture of my basil. So this is the top part of it, and I cut the little frame out, and I'm going to make a tiny little shaker pocket that's going to go over that bloom where you're planted. I didn't want to put too much in there so that you could still kind of read it, but also I like shaker pockets. So I took from my Spiegel Mom scraps, there's some of the acetate that they sell. It's really nice and thick. I really like it for these projects. I did not use my Big Mama foam tape because it was too thick, and so I just used my other little strips. You're going to see me pulling those here. These are the ones I just get from Amazon. They're really thin, like, I don't know, they're like 1/8 of an inch or something like that. And so they do really nicely with little skinny small areas like this. So I'm just going ahead and I'm finishing up that shaker pocket. Now I am going to use a sequin mix also from Spiegel Mom scraps. And it had like the orangey color in it. There it is right there. It had a bit of the orangey in it, but it also had these great big, like awesome looking iridescent ones. You're going to see me in a second though. I pull out quite a few of these, and as specifically I pull the big ones out because like I said, I want to still be able to see that bloom where you're planted when you shake up the shaker pocket. So I really just only have a little sprinkling of sequins there in the little shaker pocket. So fitting this on here was quite the task. You'll see me go off camera because it took me like 3 times to get it on there so that it was in the right spot. But I thought it was really cute once it was finished. I just need to trim off where the frame is kind of overhanging the tag, and then I'll put it right back up there where the tag where I wanted the tag to go before. And I kind of play around with this a little bit to try and figure out how I want it to look. And, but isn't that cute? Look at that little shaker. I just think that shakers are just so adorable, and I love to add them wherever I can. And I especially like the little ones. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the big shakers too, but those little ones, they just add so much interest and cuteness to your page. And I just think it's super adorable. So, okay. So I got the shaker in place. They're not glued down quite yet, but it's there. And now I'm going to take that, I think does it say bloom? I can't remember now. And I'm going to cut it in half because I want to use it in 2 different spots. So I'm going to put it back over there with this scalloped tag, and then I'm going to put a little bit of blue peeking out up there by the shaker pocket. And I just like distributing that blue around the page here and there and everywhere so that it doesn't get lost. Okay, so for my title, I used some Simple Stories foam alphabet that I have. That color right there, that spells out the tastic part of my title, which will read Herb-tastic. That is called Coral, and it's a really, really pretty, it's like pretty much a dead-on match for the coral color that is in this page. In the paper. So I thought it worked pretty awesome. The other one is green. I think it's just called green now that I'm thinking about it. I think that's just the color it was called. So I'm going to stick the title. I'm going to fit that right up there on that kind of really empty part of that base paper that I put down, the very first paper that I started working with. And I like where it fits right here. I think it looks really cute. I think it helps draw your eye to all the right places. And so I'm just going to use my T-square ruler just to make sure things are mostly straight. One thing about those foam letters that kind of irk me every time I use them is they don't want to, they stretch and they twist pretty easily. So they're kind of hard to get straight. So I always have to play around with them. So these little guys that I'm sticking in here, I've had for like a million years. Okay, well, more like 15, but I've had them forever. And so everywhere I can kind of just stick a few of them here and there, I will. These are the little embellishments, or I guess they're more like die cut pieces from Jolie. Do they even sell Jolie anymore? I don't even know, but about 15 years ago, my mom actually bought me a pack, like a giant thing full of these Jolies. And so I have so many still, and I keep trying to put them here and there on the page. That little plant guy down on the bottom, he is also a Jolie's. I skipped ahead just a little so you don't have to watch me, and I'm going to skip ahead again in a minute so that you don't have to watch me place all of these little sprigs. I place them in a few different spots. Right there where I'm doing right now, I do a couple sprigs up by the shaker pocket, and then I do a couple sprigs over by the scalloped tag also. So what I discovered is on the plant, the potted plant that I'm going to put on there, there were 3 colors of green on there. One was kind of the lighter, brighter green that you see on my actual basil plants in my picture. Another was the darker green that is in the little plant printed paper. And then the other was more like a bluey green. It was quite blue looking, and it just did not work with the colors in my layout. So I just took a little bit of my Shimmerz, and I think it's the color Forget Me Not, and I'm just going over the bluey green leaves just to kind of give them more of the color that's kind of in the single basil leaf that I'm holding. So, and I think it worked pretty well. It did take away that bluey color, and it just looks green after that. Okay, so there you see I've got all my little sprigs in place. I already have them glued down too, so you didn't have to watch that painstaking glue every tiny little piece down. And now I am just trying to figure out where I want to place that plant. I liked it down at the bottom between the 2 pictures, but I just wasn't sure. So I kept moving it around, and I kept second guessing myself and looking at it here and there. But once I finally make up my mind here in just a second, it's going to stay. It's going to stay right there. So there's a few things I don't love about it, but I decided that that's where I liked it best. And I wanted to use up another one of those Jolies. So this guy is going on my page. I did grab a hunk of my Big Mama foam tape. It's thicker than the little strips that I used on the shaker pocket. And so I decided to put that down at the bottom because we had quite a bit of dimension because the picture is raised up, and then there's layers underneath there too. So I needed kind of a thicker, taller foam tape. So I used that Big Mama. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna do a little bit more mixed media now that I've gotten everything pretty much in place. Okay, this is pretty much what we're gonna end up with on my layout. Okay, but I decided I wanted some blue splatters over there. So I start in with the blue splatters, just using my tiniest paintbrush because I just want little splatters. And I don't even want them that dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and blot them up just so that I just have a hint of those splatters on the back. And then as I look at it, I realize that I want more. I want more mixed media. And my initial thought was just that I felt like that white paper was getting kind of lost. The white paper and the white tags were getting a little lost. So I was going to just at first create just a little bit of a shadow effect with this orangey. I'll have to look up what color that is because I can't remember what it was. It might be Mango Tango. I'm not sure. Anyway, and so I was just going to do that. And then I decided, no, I want to do the shadow effect all the way along this whole other side. So I do that. And I don't hate it. I think it's fine. But, you know, when it comes to mixed media, for some reason for me, more is always more. So I decide to start putting more and going further and drawing this out and just adding a bit more to the background. And I like it, you know. I mean, I keep going until it feels right to me, until I like the effect that it's giving. And when I did down around those tags down there and kind of brought it out a little further, I realized I really liked like how my eye was being drawn from the blue over to that. It's almost like it drew it properly in the right direction. So I liked the effect that was giving, and I liked how it was drawing my eye. So I kind of built on that one down by the tag just a little bit more so that our eye would go that way. And so now to finish that off, I add splatters of the orangey color as well, just to kind of make it cohesive here. And it's not lost on me that most of this ended up being coral, and I also don't mind it. I like it with the green quite a bit, and I like the peaks of blue that are coming through as well. So, you know, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. And that is honestly all I'm going to do for mixed media. And at the end here, what you're going to see me do is I'm just going to add a few random sequins here, and I'm going to do it off camera so you don't have to watch that. There we go. And this is my page complete. Those sequins just add just a little bit of sparkle there, and they're just so cute. And I love all the little sprigs of green here and there. I just think it turned out really, really cute, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you guys again next time. See you then.